Jerusalem, an ancient city and its lingering pain. Jerusalem, in days gone by, was the spiritual center of the kingdom of Judah, where Solomon's temple shone with the light of faith. However, under the reign of King Ahaz, the city gradually fell into chaos. Temples were erected to worship foreign deities, replacing the once cherished beliefs of the people. The doors of the temple, which once welcomed countless prayers, had been sealed. False idols now stood in place of the image of the Lord. The people of Jerusalem lived with a deep nostalgia for their glorious past, while also suffering from the pain of a lost faith. Families slowly forgot the sacred traditions of their ancestors. On the streets, laughter and chatter were intermingled with praises for lifeless idols, creating an atmosphere of confusion and sorrow. Amid this backdrop, a new wind began to blow, a glimmer of hope emerging from the successor of King Ahaz, Hezekiah, a journey of maturation and awakened faith. Hezekiah, the son of King Ahaz, was raised amid internal conflicts. Growing up in a family of power, he witnessed firsthand the decay of faith among the people. On many nights, while others slept soundly, Hezekiah would quietly slip to his window, gazing at the dim city lights, and wondering, what is the true path for us? He recalled the stories told by the elders, of David, who bravely faced Goliath, of Moses, who led his people through the desert, of the Lord's blessings bestowed upon the faithful. These were not mere legends but a priceless source of inspiration for Hezekiah. In his heart, a strong conviction gradually took shape. Only the Lord could rescue Jerusalem from the darkness of spiritual waywardness. We cannot let this path continue, Hezekiah vowed to himself. If we do not return to the Lord, everything we build will be nothing but ruins of regret. The hardships and storms of spiritual decline hardened Hezekiah's resolve and wisdom beyond his youth. He learned to listen to his soul, to discern both the pain and the hope within his people. The tears shed and the silent prayers by his window became the wings for his dream of a holy Jerusalem reborn. The tumultuous rise of Hezekiah. When King Ahaz passed away, a new chapter opened for the people of Jerusalem. Although barely 25 years old, Hezekiah ascended to the throne with an unshakable faith. From the very first days, he resolved to change the way of governance and lead the city back onto the path of the Lord. In a meeting with his advisors and military leaders in the palace, Hezekiah stood before the crowd and declared, "We have lived in darkness for too long. The temple of the Lord has been forgotten, defiled by false beliefs. From now on, we shall open Solomon's temple, cleanse it completely, and return to true prayer." His voice echoed throughout the palace, easing the anxious atmosphere. The laborers, tired of a life steeped in chaos, began gathering together to work. They swung their hammers and shattered false idols, dismantled the filthy altars, all to restore the sacred beauty of the temple. This scene was not only about the restoration of an architectural marvel but also marked the beginning of a spiritual revolution. Gradually, the people returned to faith. They gathered together, singing hymns of praise to the Lord and recounting stories of miraculous events from the past. Every song was a promise that, regardless of worldly changes, faith in the Lord would endure forever. The menace of the Assyrian army, when darkness returns. Just as Jerusalem was beginning to reclaim its faith, rumors spread from the north about a mighty army. The Assyrian forces, a military juggernaut known for brutal tactics and devastating strength, were marching toward the city. They were not merely soldiers, they symbolized fear and impending doom. Before the Assyrian army arrived, Hezekiah's generals convened in a war room. The flickering light of torches cast anxious shadows on their faces. One veteran general, seasoned by many battles, spoke up, "My lord, with our forces, a direct confrontation with the Assyrians would be doomed. They employ ruthless tactics, mobile siege towers, colossal battering machines, and, most fearfully, psychological warfare to break the enemy's spirit." Hezekiah listened intently, his eyes blazing with determination. He replied, "We do not fight only with weapons but with faith. Let us build walls strong enough to withstand their assault, but also forge a resolve in every heart. If our faith is unyielding, no matter how many enemies surround us, the Lord will protect us." He then ordered his workers to reinforce the city walls immediately. Simultaneously, he commanded the digging of a secret tunnel to bring water from a nearby spring into the city, a critical measure to sustain life should they be besieged. Preparing for war and confronting fear. In the days leading up to the impending siege, an atmosphere of tension swept through Jerusalem. The people not only worried about the future, but were plagued by questions about their fate. Outside, amidst the construction of walls and the digging of the tunnel, the relentless sound of hammers and saws blended with the anguished cries of mothers fearing for their children. One afternoon, atop the city wall, Hezekiah stood beside an elderly man, one who had witnessed many of the city's hardships, and said, "You have endured many storms, old friend, but today our faith is our shield. Remember, The Lord has carried us through countless trials. That unwavering faith will not let us fall." The old man nodded, eyes glistening with both tears and renewed hope. Hezekiah's words spread reassurance among the people, even as doubts about the enemy lingered in their hearts. Not only was the spiritual front being bolstered, but the material preparations were also gathering pace. Laborers worked tirelessly from dawn until dusk, placing every stone and timber with the conviction that the city would be defended. Meanwhile, women and children gathered outside the walls, pooling food and water supplies, sharing folktales and prayers for a brighter tomorrow. Rabshakeh's challenge, a psychological battle. On a gloomy morning, when dark clouds shrouded the sky, the Assyrian army advanced to the city's edge. On a high vantage point outside the wall, Rabshakeh, the commander of the Assyrian forces, stepped forward. His face was cold and calculating, and his eyes brimmed with scheming malice. Standing before his troops, he began to address the people of Jerusalem, in a language they understood, using polished, yet menacing words to incite fear. His voice thundered across the space. "Listen well, people of Jerusalem. Do you truly believe that your young king can protect you? Look around you. The Lord has forsaken you. You will starve if you do not surrender immediately." A group of citizens near the wall fell silent, their eyes filled with worry. An older man murmured to his companion, "Should we believe his words? If what he says is true, what fate awaits us?" Trembling woman clutching her child whispered, "All we have left is our faith. Hezekiah has promised that the Lord will deliver us." The tension grew thick, but amid the chaotic murmurs, Hezekiah stepped forward from the crowd to confront Rabshakeh directly. In a deep, resolute voice, he declared, "Rabshakeh, you are nothing but our enemy. Remember, our faith is not determined by the words of our foes. We believe in the Lord, and he will protect us." This tense exchange lasted for several minutes, a clash of insults and determination. Despite the venom in Rabshakeh's words, Hezekiah's courage and steadfast loyalty slowly inspired those atop the wall. Complex emotions and nights of prayer. After the heated confrontation, when Rabshakeh and his soldiers withdrew to prepare for the next assault, Hezekiah retreated into his inner world, burdened by conflicting emotions. Lying on his bed after many sleepless nights, he sat by the window, watching the city brace for a battle whose outcome was uncertain. In the silence, he whispered to himself, "How can I keep the people's faith intact when fear seeps into every heart? Do I have the strength to shield them from the coming storm?" He recalled evenings spent with his father, absorbing words of wisdom about steadfastness and loyalty to the Lord. Despite the torrents of worry within him, Hezekiah resolved to seek solace and guidance from God. He tore his garments, donned sackcloth, a symbol of repentance and suffering, and went to the temple in absolute quiet. In the darkness, beneath the flickering candlelight, Hezekiah prayed fervently, "Lord, grant us strength and unwavering faith. Deliver us from this encroaching enemy. I trust that you will never forsake me, even if darkness surrounds us." Not only did Hezekiah turn to prayer, but the entire city gathered in the temple, united in supplication and anticipation of a divine miracle. The miraculous intervention of the angel. As the night wore on, an uncanny silence enveloped the city. In that moment, something extraordinary began to occur. The people started to sense a cool, gentle breath, as though a holy presence were among them. Legend had it that when the people's faith burns brightly, the Lord sends a messenger from heaven, a divine angel to protect and save them. And that night, as everyone lay immersed in prayerful dreams, the angel appeared. At first, the people noticed a faint glow in the distance, small rays of light that gradually spread, dispelling the dark clouds of fear. On the city wall, the citizens cautiously emerged, eyes wide with astonishment as the radiance flooded over everything. One watchman murmured, "Do you see it? That light? It seems to be saving us from this darkness." Under the miraculous light, everything appeared transformed. The soldiers, who had been tense to the point of suffocation, suddenly felt their burdens lift. Their fear melted away, replaced by an overwhelming surge of hope and faith. The legend of the angel, long passed down through generations, became a living reality on that very night. When dawn broke, the people emerged from the city to witness an unbelievable sight. 185,000 Assyrian soldiers lay motionless, without a single wound or sign of combat, as if the entire army had been sealed in an eternal slumber. The survivors, gripped by shock and terror, could only weep silently and give thanks to the Lord for the miraculous intervention. Aftermath and the revival of Jerusalem. In the wake of that miraculous night, Jerusalem erupted with joy and gratitude. The people gathered around the temple, singing praises to the Lord and retelling the story of their incredible deliverance. Standing among the crowd, tears of joy glistened in Hezekiah's eyes as he addressed his people. Today, we have not merely been spared from our enemies, we have witnessed the might of faith. Today, we have seen that only the Lord can perform wonders beyond our imagining. Let us remember that our faith is our infinite strength. In those sacred moments, an aura of holiness filled the city. The elders, those who had endured so much pain, found their hope renewed. They shared their experiences, expressed their dreams, and vowed that from this day forward, they would live according to the teachings of the Lord, never forgetting the lessons of this miraculous day. The downfall of the arrogant and lessons learned. The story of the angel's intervention was not confined to Jerusalem. In the north, as news of the Assyrian army's inexplicable defeat spread, King Sennacherib, the once proud ruler who boasted of being the greatest king, could not escape his tragic fate. Back in Nineveh, Sennacherib tried desperately to cover his failure by bragging about his victories before the false gods of his people. However, as pride and arrogance took root in his heart, fate intervened. In a moment of bitter defeat, while he knelt in prayer and worship of his idols, his own son struck him down, ending the reign of a king who had once claimed to be the ruler of the world. This outcome underscored a vital lesson for all in Jerusalem. No worldly power can substitute for faith in the Lord. When pride and arrogance dominate, one cannot receive the deliverance that only the Lord can grant. Myths, legends, and promises of the future. The tale of that miraculous night became legend, passed down through generations. It was not merely a story of battle but a symbol of unwavering faith, steadfast loyalty, and the power of God. People recounted the night when the angel appeared, when celestial light dispelled darkness, and the enemy fell silent in eerie stillness. Each retelling carried the message that, no matter how tumultuous the world becomes, only faith and reverence for the Lord can guide humanity through adversity. Some even claimed that on bright, moonlit nights, if one listens closely, the sound of angelic wings can be heard softly brushing through the streets of Jerusalem. They believed that these were the signs of the special angels, sent by the Lord to protect his people. One voice declared, if one angel can defeat 185,000 Assyrian soldiers, imagine the power of the 7 angels sent to guard us. This story inspired not only the people of Jerusalem but also those from far-off lands, anyone in search of hope and faith. Every recounting, every hymn of praise, was a promise that even in the darkest times, the Lord would be by our side, protecting and guiding us. The unification of the people and the joy of deliverance. As the days passed after the battle, Jerusalem gradually returned to a semblance of normal life, but with a new spirit of vitality. The people worked together to rebuild the city, not only physically, but also spiritually. Regular community gatherings and prayer meetings were organized, where everyone shared experiences, prayed together, and offered heartfelt thanks to the Lord. Hezekiah often hosted grand ceremonies at the temple, where the people would assemble to hear him recount the story of the angel's miraculous night, and the wonders the Lord had performed. He encouraged everyone to live purposefully, to be responsible for themselves and their community, as a way to repay the sacred gift of deliverance that God had bestowed upon them. One morning, as the first rays of light filtered through the ancient stone columns of the temple, Hezekiah stood before the gathered crowd and said, "Today, we are not only rescued in body but also renewed in spirit. Remember, each of you is part of this miracle. Live with faith, with gratitude, and with love, for that is how we honor the Lord." Applause and tears of joy filled the air, creating a warm and sacred atmosphere. The story of that miraculous night was told as if it were a living legend, a tremendous source of encouragement for the entire city, a radiant future and an invitation to discover more. The tale of the angel did not end with that one miraculous night. It opened the door to many other legends, tales of the 7 special angels sent by the Lord to protect his people. Many believed that during pivotal moments in history, these angels would appear with warnings and guidance to help humanity steer clear of destruction. On the ancient walls of Jerusalem, one can still see carvings and inscriptions depicting the battles of these angels. Each image serves as a reminder of the power of faith, of the new life the Lord grants to those who believe. These stories are not only echoes of a distant past, but promises for the future, that no matter how the world changes, the light of the Lord will shine forever. Hezekiah, now a symbol of unwavering faith and courage, urged everyone to seek out the mysteries of heaven. He said, "Open your hearts and seek the truth. Each of us has a role in the Lord's grand plan. Walk together on this path of light, and you will discover the wonders that He has prepared for us." Conclusion: everlasting faith and deliverance. As the story drew to a close, a serene peace enveloped the city. The people of Jerusalem now lived with a powerful, unshakable faith and deep gratitude. They no longer feared any enemy, for they knew that no matter how many traps or dangers the world might hold, as long as they remained loyal to the Lord, all things were possible. Standing atop the city wall, Hezekiah gazed into the distance, as if searching for signs of a bright future. He declared, "We have been saved by a miracle. But this is not only the salvation of today, it is the promise for eternity. Let us hold fast to our faith, live with love, and remember that the Lord is always by our side, guiding us through every trial." Amid the chorus of praise and words of thanksgiving, Jerusalem was illuminated by the light of faith and gratitude. The story of that angelic night, the night when 185,000 Assyrian soldiers were defeated without a single drop of bloodshed, would forever serve as an inspiration to all who believe that only true faith can change the world. The story of the light of God, of the angel who intervened to deliver the people of Jerusalem, is not merely a myth. It is a living testament to the power of faith, the courage to rise above fear, and the unwavering conviction that, no matter what changes may come, the Lord is always with us. In every hymn, every image, every tear and smile, the people of Jerusalem recorded a glorious chapter, a chapter of revival, loyalty, and the miraculous power of faith. If you are seeking solace in troubled times, remember that, like the people of Jerusalem, by holding fast to your faith, you too can find the light that leads the way. And if one angel can defeat 185,000 Assyrian soldiers, imagine the transformative power of faith, the power to change our very destiny. Click on the next video to discover more legends about the 7 special angels sent by the Lord to protect His people. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another miraculous story. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.